The atmosphere in Washington, D.C. that evening was charged with excitement as energy flowed through the crowds spilling into the streets surrounding Northwest Stadium. This was no ordinary concert. It was the final stop of the Grand National Tour, the culmination of a coast-to-coast journey that had transformed venues into lively festivals filled with music, lights, and profound emotions. Tens of thousands of fans had waited in line for hours before the gates opened, many arriving from cities still buzzing from Kendrick Lamar's shows in Los Angeles, Chicago, and Miami. Others had traveled specifically for this grand finale, eager to see Kendrick and SZA conclude a tour that had become one of the most talked-about events in modern music. By the way, welcome to Celebrity Hip Hop Showroom, where hip-hop and celebrity drama never sleep, so hit that subscribe button so you never miss the mess. Let's get into it. Inside the stadium, the excitement was palpable. Fans wore matching Gen X and SOS Deluxe, Lana merchandise, while homemade signs showcased their favorite lyrics. Entire sections buzzed with Kendrick's opening chords even before the band struck a single note. Some groups sat nervously, tapping their feet and speculating about possible surprise guests and encore songs. Others chanted SZA's name, confident she would deliver a performance that had received acclaim from fellow artists for months. Security personnel moved through the crowd with practiced ease, reminding everyone of the delayed start due to an earlier thunderstorm but assuring them that the music would make up for every minute spent waiting in the rain. When the lights finally dimmed, the crowd erupted in cheers. Smoke cannons fired as Kendrick appeared on a raised platform, driving a replica of his Buick Grand National, the engine roaring through custom speakers. The bass hit hard as he launched into whacked-out murals, his flow slicing through the stadium like lightning. Moments later, the stage transformed, and SZA emerged, illuminated by a spotlight that showcased every detail of her flowing outfit. She began singing SOS, her voice rising above the audience and sending waves of joy through everyone who had ever listened to her songs Kill Bill or Good Days. For nearly 2 hours, the two artists exchanged verses and performed duets, their chemistry undeniable. Kendrick's rapid-fire lyrics blended seamlessly with SZA's soulful melodies, creating a rhythm that felt both spontaneous and meticulously rehearsed. However, it was the final act, when the concert shifted from a grand spectacle to an intimate moment, that caught everyone off guard. As the last notes of All the Stars faded away, SZA stood alone at center stage. The large screens that had displayed sweeping visuals of Compton streets and starry skies now showed a close-up of her face, magnified to reveal every tear and breath. The thunderous cheers gradually quieted to a hush as she took a tentative step forward, her usual confident smile replaced by a more vulnerable expression. She took the microphone and for a moment, it looked like her voice might waver. Instead, she spoke deliberately and slowly, her voice shaking, which brought silence to the stadium. This tour, this whole experience has changed me, she said, her voice echoing in the open space. When I agreed to work with Kendrick, I felt such pride. I knew we would create something special. But I had no idea. It would heal parts of me I thought were broken. The audience leaned in, eager to hear every word. In the front rows, some fans reached for tissues. In the upper sections, others stood with their phones raised, capturing the moment. The band on stage paused, and the lights dimmed. Kendrick emerged from the shadows quietly, moving closer to her. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Their eyes met, and she nodded, swallowing hard as tears streamed down her face. "It's because of you," she continued, her voice shaking but firm. "You believed in me. You lifted me up. You showed me that I belong here, that I deserve this stage, this spotlight. I've carried so much doubt, even when people told me I was amazing. But you believed in me like no one ever has." A deep silence fell over the crowd. The soft sound of cameras clicking and distant whistles from crew members could be heard. Then, softly, the first notes of Good Days began to play, an unexpected backdrop that seemed to flow naturally from the speakers. SZA closed her eyes, letting the music envelop her confession. Kendrick stepped closer and wrapped her in a hug, one arm around her shoulder, the other supporting her hip. She leaned in, burying her face in his neck. The embrace lasted longer than a typical photo op, more intimate than a planned moment, as if it held all the gratitude and unspoken respect they had built over months on tour. When they finally pulled away, SZA wiped her tears and took a deep breath. Kendrick nodded slightly and stepped back to let her continue. "Thank you for seeing me," she whispered into the microphone. "Thank you for believing I had something to share too. This tour was as much yours as it was mine. You taught me that being true to myself is enough. Because of you, I feel whole." The stadium erupted in applause, a wave of sound so powerful it seemed to reach for the night sky. Fans jumped, waving their arms, their phones lighting up the stands like tiny stars. Some chanted "Hey" in unison, while others shouted "Ki." But in that moment, everyone felt a connection, not just to two artists at the peak of their careers, but to one another, united by the shared experience of witnessing something real and unforgettable. After their embrace, Kendrick picked up the microphone for the first time that evening since the opening song. His usually serious expressions softened into something more sincere and purposeful. "This tour has been the most authentic experience I've ever had," he said, gazing at the audience. "We've encountered delays due to storms and had sold-out shows, but tonight captured the essence of it all. SZA, thank you for every note, every lyric, and every moment you believed in yourself on that stage. You're an incredible force, and I'm honored to share this journey with you." He released the mic, and she laughed through her tears, a gentle, triumphant sound that echoed throughout the stadium. They then began to perform All the Stars, again, turning what began as a simple award acceptance into a vibrant celebration of collaboration, resilience, and artistic connection. Backstage after the performance, the hugs and tears continued behind the scenes. Crew members exchanged congratulations in quiet voices. Makeup artists attended to tear-streaked faces. In the VIP lounge, industry veterans marveled at the genuine display, calling it a masterclass in artistry and humanity. Fans quickly shared clips online, racking up millions of views by midnight. Social media buzzed with admiration. "I've never seen two artists trust each other like that," one tweet noted. "That was a reminder of why we love music," another commented. Even news outlets, typically quick to report on headlines, took a moment to highlight the clip, framing it as a significant moment in their careers rather than just an award speech. In the days that followed, interviews with Kendrick and SZA emphasized the hug that had come to represent the true essence of the tour. SZA described it as a crucial moment, one that reminded her that creative expression is closely linked to emotional honesty. Kendrick, during his rare media appearances, praised SZA's openness, calling her a poet of the soul and acknowledging her influence in inspiring him to explore deeper themes in his own work. Critics hailed the moment as a highlight in an otherwise competitive industry. Observers noted how unusual it was for two headliners to uplift each other instead of focusing on their own egos or territories. It became a model of leadership through collaboration, serving as an example for other artists on tour. Young musicians took note, sharing SZA's messages about self-confidence on their Instagram stories. Touring acts discussed it on podcasts, contemplating how to cultivate that level of trust within their own teams. Amid all the accolades, one fundamental truth stood out: that hug at Northwest Stadium captured something eternal. It symbolized mentorship without a power dynamic, friendship without reservations, and creativity without artifice. It reminded everyone, fans and fellow artists alike, that music goes beyond simple entertainment. It serves as a way to connect, heal, and affirm. A few weeks later, as the final merchandise shipments for the tour arrived at SZA's studio and Kendrick began planning his next album, both artists reflected on their time in D.C. "That moment will stay with me forever," SZA said in a quiet phone interview. It was more than just the end of the tour. It felt like a personal awakening. When Kendrick was asked about the hug on social media, he replied simply, "Love wins." For the millions who witnessed it, both in person and online, that final night was more than just the end of a stadium tour. It signified the start of many personal journeys inspired by two artists who bravely shared their hearts. It showed that even amid the spotlight and applause, the most meaningful moments happen when you step out of the limelight, connect with someone else, and convey, "I believe in you." That, more than any encore or award, is the true legacy of that embrace. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.